We started it last week at dinner. We introduced it. This is the beginning of it. Tonight's going to be a lot of why, and the 8th is going to be a lot of how. Resolve, there's not many resolutions anymore. Very few people make resolutions like they used to. 40 years ago, lots of people made resolutions. But the word resolution comes from resolute or resolve, and that's why we use that. And a resolve is a fixed purpose. How many resolutions do you think these days are fixed purposes? Not very many. And I'm telling you, it shouldn't be that way. And I'm going to show you tonight some things that are absolutely going to be a blessing to you. But this is going to be Mac's mind. So this is essential number 5. First and foremost, okay? Shine your light. I'm just going to read this to you, so bear with me. It's one of my favorite quotes, but it's Marianne Williamson. She said, our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It's our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You're a child of God. Your playing small doesn't serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We are born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. You know, a city on a hill cannot be hidden, and you shouldn't take a lampstand and a lamp and put a bowl over it, right? Let your light shine. Today is going to be about taking that flicker that's in January that you feel like you need a little gasoline on and doing just that. And I'm going to show you exactly what that means. First, resolution to resolve. I love this. Just read it with me. So, 2003, I'm going to get my weight down below 180. 2004, I'm going to watch my calories until I get down below 190. 2005, I'm going to follow a new rigorous diet until I'm below 200. 2006, I'm going to develop a really realistic attitude about my weight. 2007, I will work out 5 days a week. 2008, at least 3 days a week. And then 2009, I'm going to try to drive past a gym at least once a week to drive by. And so I like that. But what happens is we end up watering down and taking less because we didn't do what we said we were going to do last time. And who's your worst critic? You are, right? And so we just don't make these resolves, but we're going to do something different this year. And I want to ask you this, and this is not a rhetorical question. What do you really want? Do you want to lose 20 pounds? Do you want to get out of debt? Why are we even talking about that? But that's part of it. What is your vision? Because when I ask you what you want, I'm asking you, what do you see yourself as? Do you know what I mean? And so I'm going to talk about some vision things tonight as well. And I really want to make sure that I'm clear on this as well. I want to start working on not relieving those parts of your life that are bad, that are draining energy from you. Because if you're just trying to fight fires, you just end up with more what? Fires. What I want you to do is I want you to start working on those things that are great about you. You know, I can tell you that my wife is great at everything. Literally, she is great at everything. Like how I got her, I have no idea. It's the best gift to me ever. But she's got some attributes that I don't possess. She can organize herself perfectly. She's one of those people that if you knew her and how organized and how well she does everything, it would make you sick. But I love that about her. I just don't have an organizational skill set. I just love to encourage people, right? So what I don't want to do is keep you from working on something that you're not good at. But if you put all your time on something that's bleeding you and just trying to relieve symptoms of that, then you're never going to get anywhere. But you know what? I know some of my skill sets. I know that I love to encourage people. I know I'm a good encourager. I know I love to speak. I know I love to speak into people and lead people and infect people with the excitement I have. I'm good at those things. And you know what? I'm going to build on those things that I'm good at and get great at, so instead of making those things that I'm just terrible at maybe a little bit better. Does that make sense? That's a mindset that you might want to write down that you'll forget about a week from now from this talk, because that's the last time we're going to talk about it. But that's an important mindset. Next, virtues, the better angels of our nature. In his address, Lincoln was talking about virtues being the better angels of our character, and they're just those parts of you that are great. You are wired to make an impact. What moves you? So if I read this, listen to me. As I read these, I want you to see if anything catches you that this is particular to you. For instance, commitment, is that important to you? Or personal responsibility? Contribution. to your church or organization or your family or whatever else. Honesty, honor, trust, loyalty, boldness, purpose, integrity, meaning, making an impact, that kind of thing. So as I just read through those, I want you to try and figure out if there's one or two of those on that list that maybe hits you more, and I want you to write those down right now. If you're taking notes, this would be a good time to make sure you're taking notes, by the way, because this is going to be part of the reprogramming that we're going to do. Okay? Is everybody with me? So I'm letting you write it down a little bit. Does everybody get it? Raise your hand if you need a little more time. Good, okay? Good, excellent. It said that in that quote from Marianne Williamson, she goes, "We are all meant to shine as children do." I've got a 3-year-old. Haven and I were talking about my 3-year-old, Zanae. Zanae certainly does just that. She shines everywhere she goes. We had a family day. We went out to eat yesterday, and she's just sitting there, and she has a spoon, and she puts a spoon in her mouth and goes, and pulls the spoon out and goes like this. And I got pictures of each one like this. And she just shines all the time. And you know what? Inside of you is that very same thing. But you don't necessarily let it shine out. Come here, you. Come here. This is what I was talking about. You got your PJs on. What are you doing? What are you doing? I love you so much. Do you see that shine coming off of her like that? Give me a kiss. I love you so much. Can you say hi, everybody? All right, go see your brother. Go see Zach. Was I kidding? I mean, and I didn't plan that, by the way. That just happened, by the way. That was awesome. Okay, I'm out. See you guys. Have a great night. So, anyway, so we all ready? We got that? We good? Let's move forward. All right. So here we go. Maybe, if this works. There we go. Belief system, okay? Whether you believe you're right or not, you're right, okay? I mean, whatever you believe you can do, you can do. You are 100% right. The problem with beliefs is you can have a bad belief. You can believe that it's just really hard to work out, and then somebody else has a belief that it's not hard to work out at all. It's really easy to get that in, and guess what? You're going to be the person that doesn't like to exercise, doesn't get it in, and has issues with it. But there's going to be a lot of stuff with that. And a lot of that stuff can be hang-ups that you don't even realize. And I put beliefs in here because in cognitive psychology, and I took years and years of cognitive psychology, what you'll find is there's a subconscious brain. Everybody say subconscious. So it means that there's part of your brain working right now that's not in the forefront. Everybody think of a cat. That's a conscious thought, right? And you can't think in words. You saw a cat, yes or no, right? Raise your hand if you saw a dog. Okay, we're going to talk later, Zanae. Right there, my daughter raising her hand. She just wants to raise her hand. Hi, I love you. All right, good. But your brain has a subconscious part of it. And what ends up happening is you set up a self-concept, and I won't go into self-concept much, but you start having a reality that you've told yourself is true. Right? A pastor friend of mine has a friend who his dad was an alcoholic and he was abusive to he and his mom, and he would try and work with his dad his dad was a mechanic, and his dad would just belittle him and berate him and just was horrible. And he said, "You're so stupid you can't thread a nut." And do you know, literally, as a grown man, that he literally physically could not start a nut on a thread, and even he got it on the right, he would just second guess himself, and he would take it off and put it on and take it off until he would what? He would strip it out every single time because he had just ingrained that. And what I'm saying is, in every single person, there's nobody in this room that is this exception. There is tapes, there's a self-talk going on continually in your head that I'm lazy, or that I'm stupid, or I'm clumsy, or I'm whatever, or I don't have enough time, right? Maybe you got that from your mom or dad who were busy, and now you're in the same situation, and now it's just you're too busy. So you've got some tapes running that you don't know that you have. And the problem with that is your brain cares more about maintaining the reality you've set up for yourself than it does for success. Let me say that again. Your brain wants to maintain reality for you more than it wants to achieve success for you. Which means if you've told yourself that this is as good as my health is ever going to get, no matter how good I am, no matter how much good stuff I give you, you're only going to reach a certain level, because your brain will literally create decisions that you link onto and decide on, not because it was the greatest thing for you, but because that's what your brain is trying to hold on to maintain your reality. Does that make you a little sick? Who would like to, by raise of hands, reprogram those tapes? Raise your hand. Good. Now, if you have a hand, go ahead and raise that up, because if you weren't, then I'm going to make sure that you do. Good. No, I'm not joking. Everybody raise your hand. Good. Excellent. That's wonderful. Okay, moving forward. All right. So, here we go. Next one. What is your limiting belief? And this is going to begin the process. Okay, there's a 4-step process that every single person on this team has started as of today. And I can tell you, it is just simple. It takes less than 120 seconds a day, and you can completely reprogram your thoughts. Before I get too far, let me give you an example. Do you believe you can reprogram your brain? Yes. Good. All right. Well, let me prove it to you still. Anybody like science? I like science. I'm kind of a nerd. I like the research. NASA wanted to see if you could reprogram your brain. So they put goggles on people they couldn't see out of that had computer lenses, and they converted up to down and left to right so that it would be opposite completely. And the guys threw up. They couldn't walk. They couldn't perform any movements, whatever else. Week goes by. 2 weeks goes by. And literally, they didn't know if it was going to work. But these guys literally ate, slept, could not take these goggles off. 28 days in, the first guy, his brain literally rewires up for down, down for up, right for left, left for right, and can go do through all of his stuff. Crazy. By 31, all of them had been, or 34, all of them had reprogrammed their brain completely. They repeated the same study again. And so they said that we can absolutely reprogram the brain. So I'm telling you, you can reprogram your brain. You can do it. It's cool. However, when they did the study again, about halfway through, they had them take off their goggles and then just leave them off for a little while. Not very long, just a little while, maybe an hour or so, and then put them back on. And then at day 28 from the start of it, guess what happened? Nothing. Day 35, nothing. Day 37, nothing. It actually had to be about 28 days from the time they took it off till they actually reprogrammed their brain. So what I'm saying is, although this is cool and it works 100% of the time, what percentage of the time? 100% of the time. You have to be consistent because you're dealing with tapes that have been running how long? Since you were a kid, most of them. Right? So you have to reprogram. So the first thing I want you to ask yourself is, what is my limiting belief? Now again, it would take some one-on-one with us, maybe to deep dive down. Some of you guys have already talked to me about it a little bit and said, I've gone through this before. I don't know exactly what that is. Just think about it. It doesn't have to be something life-shattering. It doesn't have to be something that you have to figure out, right? It can be something just as simple as, you think you're lazy or clumsy or whatever else, right? Okay, so find out what that is. Also, it can be something like this. Do you believe that because your mom's overweight that you will be too? Or because somebody else had arthritis that you will be? Or whatever, right? Do you believe that you can't afford to eat well? I have people say that all the time. We start talking about changing your diet. There's just no way I can afford to eat well. No, you can. We can figure it out with you. Do you believe that your spouse will never change? Right? Some of you may be right. No, you're not right. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. No. Do you believe that you can't change or overcome your circumstances? And listen, the whole premise about what we do in Maximize Living is to not change the environment to suit your weakened state, but to change yourself so you can be in any environment. Does that make sense? And when it comes to this, every battle begins and ends here. So let's do that first. So, when it comes to limiting beliefs, come on, you can do it. Let's do it. There we go. Henry Ford, I already said that. I want you to write this down. So you ready? So you're going to write this down. If you don't have something to take notes on, you're going to do it on your phone. I want you, this is an absolute, you can't be in this room and not write this down. You have to write this down. We're not moving forward until everybody's written it down. You're going to raise your hand when if you need more time. Identify your limiting beliefs. It may start something like this. I'm too something. Skinny, or big, overweight, or old, or young. I've had that too, right? Or broken down. I'm not blank enough, strong enough, organized enough, sharp enough, whatever enough. Because of blank, I won't be successful. And listen, I have people have this all the time. Because of something in my life, went through a bankruptcy as a kid or something in there. So I want you to identify it. You need to write that thing down. Because what we're about to do is we're going to take that limiting belief that just goes on in your head, on in your head, on in your head, and you're going to change it. And it's going to feel really weird. Raise your hand if it's okay if I make you feel really weird. Raise your hand if it's okay. Raise your hand. Go ahead and raise your hand. Good. Because I don't really care. I care enough about you not to care. All right, but you've got to change this. So what you're going to do is I want you to write exactly the same thing but backwards. Can I tell you what one of my limiting beliefs is? Constantly having 3 corporations and one of the largest offices and all the texts and all the things and all the rest. Oftentimes in my life, if I don't work on this, I'll tell myself, man, I just don't have enough time. I just don't have enough time. I've caught myself occasionally on weeks like this where my kids will say something, and the first thing out of my mouth before I even think about it is what? I don't have enough time. Because it's a tape that I have running. That's a bad tape. Because there's people getting a lot more done than I am, and they've got the same amount of minutes in a day that I do. And I'll say the same thing about you. That's a bad tape. So if that's my limiting belief, then what would be a new empowering belief? It'd be what? I enjoy having an abundance of time. I always have what? Enough time. Right? Or I always have an abundance of time. And here's the thing. As soon as you heard that, you could even look at me and go, but wait a second, but nothing's changed in his life. He didn't get more time. But it's not about changing the circumstances. It's about changing what? Your brain. And when you write that down the first time, it's going to feel what? Weird. How could he say that? He didn't change anything. This is hoo-cooey weirdness. He's been smoking something or drinking his own Kool-Aid. Well, guess what? I have, and don't wake me up because it's working. Right? So guess what? I want to write that new empowering belief. So did you get that yet? Did you write your new empowering belief yet? Okay, I'm not moving on. I want you to write it. So you got to figure, even if it's something small, and you may change it to another one later, but I want you to write a limiting belief. Not enough time, not enough money, I'm too old, I'm too young, something's broken down, I can't because of my knee, whatever, right? So figure out your limiting belief, and then I want you to completely flip it on its ears. And it's just as simple as that, okay? You with me? I got some looks, so I'm not sure just yet. My wife's in the back, which means we can stay here all night. Good. PB in the back, how you doing? Good to see you, brother. Great. You getting this on your phone?
Yes, sir.
Good. You got it written down?
Yes, sir.
Raise your hand if you need a little more time or you need some help. Good. What you need? You got it? You need more time?
I haven't gotten the
limiting belief yet. Okay? So think about number one. This may help you guys. What do you want? First of all, what do you want? And then the reason that you haven't achieved it already. And that may be a good place to start. Okay? Money, time, health, age, an injury. Huh?
New wife.
Yeah, I guess if you were newly married, a new wife. So, I can't say that. I've got the greatest wife in the world. And I'm on tape, so it should be worth a couple points. Good. Are you getting there? Are you getting there? You're writing something down. Good. Now flip it on its ear. You guys ready? Keep working on it, Doc, okay? All right, here we go. So there's limiting beliefs. Now I'm going to put this in here because the reason that you're writing that down is because I'm going to give you a 4-step process you're going to do every day just like I am. I've committed myself. This team's committed themselves. And if we can do it, what?
You can do it.
Yeah, say I. I say, if I can do it, you can do it. Exactly, say I. So everybody say I. I can do it. Okay, so you're going to commit to it. Here's the thing that happens. If you commit to doing something, all providence just breaks loose that wouldn't have otherwise if you do that. And this guy was an amazing story. I won't go into a story with time's sake. But when you truly commit to doing something, have you ever had that happen? Right when you made a decision, you're going to do that, all of a sudden stuff came out of the woodworks, you met somebody that helped out, or right? That happens all the time. But not until you get your mind right that you've committed to it. So everybody here, I'm going to make you commit to something by a raise of hands. And listen, this time don't raise your hand, because I don't want you to have a negative outcome. But if you raise your hand, that means you've committed to me that for the next 30 days, you're going to take 120 seconds, and you're going to bless yourself. And you're going to start reprogramming some stinking thinking, limiting beliefs. And if you'll do this, I promise you it'll change your whole life. But for the next 30 days, I'm going to have you write 4 things, one of which is your new empowering belief. So I want you to raise your hand if you can commit to me that you'll do that, even if I have to help you a little bit. Just raise your hands. Good, excellent. Good. So, action. I like this one. Colleen Barrett. When it comes to getting things done, we need fewer architects and more bricklayers. Just get action done. And this is it. This is the 4 action steps right here. So, either write this down or take a picture of it with your phone. Maybe either way. We're also going to probably put this on Facebook posts so you guys will have this. But the first one is write down your goal as if it's already been achieved. So for instance, we're starting this, and what I want you guys to do is I want you to get a goal. If it's a weight goal, then it's like, let's say for me, I weigh 203. And if I want to be 195 by the end of this thing, then I'm going to write my goal if it's already been achieved. I enjoy the way it feels to weighing right now at 195 pounds, whatever it is, right? Or if it's working out, if it's just your goal is to work out 3 days a week. I love how I feel now that I'm working out 3 days a week. So you're going to write your goal as if it's already been achieved. You're already doing it. You're already there. Got it? That's number one. Second thing, you're going to review your core strengths and virtues. What are those virtues? It's what I had you write down. Loyalty, commitment, trust, contribution, all those things. Remember that, right? The reason that you're going to write that down is because when you start going into it, reprogramming your brain, and then we hit the makeover in the 8th, the reason that you want to achieve that goal for health or for whatever it is successful in your life is if it's for just for you, guess what? You're not going to make it. Let me go ahead and save you the trip. But if it's for your kids or your wife or for your church or the youth group or whatever else, you'll go above and beyond. You'll crawl through glass. You'll do whatever it takes. You'll take a bullet. You'll limp all the way the rest of the way, but you'll get her done. But if you just did it for you, it's not going to work. So if it's contribution, hey, listen, I want to be healthier. I want to lose this weight, or I want to do this or be this or whatever else so that I can really give to my church and really take some of the slack off my pastor or whatever else. If it's about loyalty, because I want to be here for my wife and so I don't let her down, or I want to be here for my grandkids that aren't even here yet, right? Or you name it. But with that virtue, you need to build on that. Does that make sense? Everybody with me? Okay, good. I love that you're writing. Third thing, you write your new empowering belief. You're going to write it just like that. And how often is that going to change in 30 days? Unless you change it before you start, it's not going to change. So you're going to write the same one over and over and over. And if I had time, the neurologist in me would love to tell you what happens cortically when your hand has to think to write ink on a piece of paper different than you thinking about it. That's why journaling and prayer journaling is so important, because it's hard just to have a straight up prayer life just in your head. You need to get it out of your mouth. You need to get it on paper. You need to get it out of you, right? It's called a relationship for a reason. Don't make me preach. So empowering belief, you need to write it down. Write down your action step for today. This is probably the only thing that's going to change every morning when you write this down. This is probably the only thing. And this doesn't even have to change. Maybe it's just the working out portion. Maybe it's the eating the advanced plan. Maybe it's to do max T3. Whatever your action steps are, right? But you want to pick at least one, and I wouldn't say anything more than 3. Okay? Why? Because you don't want to fail, because you are already waiting for yourself to fail. And you're waiting with a fist right there, and you're going to emotionally punch yourself in the eye. Got it? And so what you're going to do is you're going to do these 4 action steps, and watch this for a second. Watch this for a second. So get up in the morning and then write down your goal as if it's already been achieved. How's that feel? Does it feel good to achieve a goal? Absolutely it does, but you have to believe that it's already done. Then you write your core strengths and virtues. How many times has anybody in here taken 30 days and you affirmed yourself exactly the way that God built you, that you're great, you can do this? How many times have you gone 30 days and you've been affirming yourself? Some of you guys go weeks and not you or anybody else says anything nice about you because you don't allow it. Seriously. So you're going to go 30 days like that? Then you're going to write a new empowering belief every single day, and you start erasing and pulling those tapes apart that have been running nonstop in your subconscious. And then you're going to write down an action step that gets you closer to the goal, which is what that is, well, no matter what it is. Right? That's a pretty big deal, isn't it? But it takes such a small step. Here's the danger. You ready? Let me give you the minefield for you. Because right now, that is too simple. There's just no way that's going to work. In fact, I have probably a couple people here and go, well, I probably tried that before or something like it. That didn't work. Well, then come talk to me in 30 days when you've done it. I can guarantee it works 100% of the time, every single time. You just got to what? Commit. Got it. Now, let me stay with this for a second. What is that thing? James Riddy, John Patterson, Dayton, Ohio, 1879. This has to do with the goal. Can everybody see this up here? Can everybody see this? Right? Watch this. This is you. Okay? This is your vision. Now, what does that mean? Okay? I'll get to that. But this is you, and a lot of you guys will set a vision for yourself or something you want. It's over there. And I'm over here. And it's over there. And I've done this whole philosophy thing and this mindset thing before, Doc. I read a couple books on it and it didn't work. So I'm so afraid to even put stock in the fact that I could get over there that I'm more comfortable staying right here. You with me? Because you tried everything, you got your hopes up, and then went back down again. Let me tell you how we're going to keep that from happening. What you need is a clear set vision. Okay? Because it's life. The Bible says that vision is literally life or death. People that have vision have life. People that don't have vision have death. Case in point, this cash register, that's the first cash register ever. It was made by James Riddy in 1879. He was a saloon owner in Dayton, Ohio, and he made it because his employees were stealing from him. So he made this thing, invented it. He's got this great, amazing tool here, and he thinks, hey, you know what? I think other people who have employees that may be stealing or could be stealing from him would like this too. I think I'll start selling it. Goes 6 years, has only sold 200 cash registers in 6 years. Totally deflated. Then a guy comes along, John Patterson, says, hey, you know what? You're not doing very well with this thing. You've lost money on it. Let me buy the patent and the company. I'll give you $6,500. Now, I say that to you right now. $6,500 doesn't sound that much. But keep in mind, the first car cost, what, $100, right? And that was 19 whatever, 20 something when the Fords came out. This, do you know how much $6,500? The guy was laughed at by every businessman in Dayton, Ohio. Says, you are the biggest fool ever buying that for $6,500. But guess what? John Patterson had something that James Riddy did not have. He had a vision bigger than just people buying it that had people stealing from him. He had a vision that every single business needed this to have a record of transactions. He had a vision much bigger, much, much bigger. In fact, as a result of his vision being bigger, in John Patterson's lifetime, he sold 22 million cash registers. Started the National Cash Register Company, NCR, and then guess what? It actually eventually became IBM. Right? Do you think? So it's a small company. You may not have heard of them. Do you see a difference in vision? How does a vision work in your life? Let me tell you how vision works in your life. Vision is life, right? What happens is, so for instance, you sit down and you end up having a consult with a patient here, and a person is having issues at work. They just hate their job, right? Well, if I asked that person, well, what's your vision for your job? What kind of look do you think I get? Well, vision for my job. Vision? Like I don't really have a vision for my. What if someone's having problems in their marriage, and you ask them, "What's your vision long term for your marriage?" Guess what the look they get on their face is? Kind of a blank look, kind of a vision. Well, just to stay together, I guess, right? Oftentimes when people come in this office, when they don't know who I am, they don't know what maximized living is, and you ask them what their vision is for their health, people are like, well, I just want to feel a little better, maybe lose a little weight, my back hurts. If you get rid of that, it costs $4, my insurance takes it, then I'm all in, right? But watch this. What's your vision? Because people say, without vision, people what? Perish. Vision is everything. And what happens is your goal you're writing down is not your vision. Your goal you're writing down is your goal. Got it? This is an attainable, timeline event that has a metric, measurable outcome. Does that make sense? A weight, a times a week, a something. Does it make sense? The reason you need that is because you need the success to drive the fuel. When you get to this goal, guess what you do? When you get even close to this, when you goal set through so you don't slow down, and you set a new goal and you begin the process of moving towards that, right? But if you're always moving forward, even if you slow down, you're still moving towards what? That vision. That's so big, you guys. Now watch this. Let me give you the key here. The key to all of this is not just the vision. It has to do with this. I just like that picture. But watch this. Write this down. Proverbs 13:12. Okay? I told you I was going to preach. Proverbs 13:12. It says that hope deferred makes a heart what? Sick, but a desire fulfilled is a tree of life. You with me? So what happens there is this. You know, since the dawn of man, we have been looking for a perpetual fuel source, one that doesn't eat up more than it uses. And if you had something like that, imagine being able to put that in your car and never, ever having to do anything with your car again, and it would run forever. How about that? Or if it was food, you could eat it and you never have to eat food again. Or it's a perpetual fuel source. Can you imagine like that? Some of you guys are like, why would I do that with food? I wouldn't do that. But it's perpetual fuel. Now, first of all, there is no such thing because it would violate the laws of physics. But there is a real and exacting perpetual, forever, never-ending fuel source that drives a never-ending amount of mental and emotional energy. And that thing is hope. Okay, let me give you an example. Getting up every morning for work. Sometimes it can be a drudge, yes or no? I mean, just being honest, it can be a drudge. I mean, it's the same old, same old. Did you have, last time you had a vacation, I had a patient I asked this to earlier, and she goes, yeah, it was like 1994. It's a joke. You laugh anytime you want. But last time you had a vacation, even if you had to get up earlier than you usually have to get up, right? Did you not have more energy to get up, get going Yes or no? Why? Because you had a vision of your vacation that's going to be fun, it's going to be different, you're going to be doing cool stuff, right? And that vision, the hope you have in it and being able to achieve that, right, is a real thing to you. You woke up that day and went off at 3 a.m. to finalize getting all your stuff back in your bag and go hit the plane because it was a red-eye flight. You had no problem getting up. But come Monday when you got back and you got plenty of sleep and it was time to go back to work again and 5:30 hit, you're like, I don't know if I can do this. Right? What happened to that energy? The only difference, can I say something? The only difference was what? Here. Right? The only difference was up here. Let me give you another example. You said you were going to lose some weight, and Dr. David, that crazy guy, convinced you to do the advanced plan and Max T3, and all of a sudden you started it, and the first time you stepped on the scales and actually saw a change, let's say you saw 4 pounds difference, you lost 4 pounds. How'd that feel? Great. Man, that is awesome, right? And what did it do for your internal energy to do more? Right? Let's say something happened and someone called you and you're up until 2 a.m., but you just that day before stepped on the scale and you're 4 pounds down. Would you still get up and probably exercise because you were so encouraged? Well, what is that? That's hope. That's what hope is. It's the substance of things, faith is the substance of things hoped for, right? So hope is a perpetual fuel. You know, Solomon talks about hope in the Bible in there, and he talks about something different than what we think it is. Most people use the word hope as a synonym for a wish. Like, I hope it happens, right? Or I hope I can make it, right? I had some people say that they didn't know I was talking about hope. I go, hope I can be there tonight. I went, well, I hope you can be too. Hope. Because hope is an expectation. And you need to write that down. Hope is an expectation. And it's not a negative expectation. It's a positive expectation. And here's what it is in this context tonight. It's an expectation that I'm going to reach what? Look here.
Goal.
That I'm going to reach this goal. It's an expectation. It's not a fleeting thought or it might happen or a wish. I am going to come hell or high water. I'm going to make this goal. And I already see it coming. And I can tell you how it's going to happen. How do you develop hope in a brain that looks at and finds a perpetual amount of energy emotionally and mentally for the life to create excellence and everything you ever wanted? You have to celebrate your victories. Otherwise, you get a heart that's sick. So you get something more like this. Deflated, left along the roadside, you can't get anywhere and you're sitting still. Right? Anybody feel like that ever? I have.
Yeah.
Right? I have. But that's how you do this. You celebrate your successes. So watch this. This goal right here is 30 days. So let's say that was 30 in there. Well, guess where you're going to get your taste of victories to ever put more hope in your tank to drive you? The feeling that you got when you looked down and you saw 4 pounds down and it gave you the encouragement to keep going. How do you get that every day? You got to taste your successes. What does that look like? Well, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to grab my little notebook, and I can show you my notebook. Watch this. Sitting right here. This is my Max Mind notebook. And in this, it has started January 13th. And it has today, January 13th, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can't read it because it's private. It's mine. But that's mine, right? But guess what I'm going to do tomorrow? Tomorrow, I want to taste the success. I want something to start changing in me that I can count on myself, that my word's good to me, okay? How am I going to do that? I'm going to flip back to today or yesterday, if it wasn't when I'm there. I'm going to flip back to the day before in this. I'm going to look at my action step. And when I've done that action step, I'm going to take a second to high-five myself and to affirm myself and say, awesome, you did it, great job, cool, right? Who's your worst critic? I swear some of you guys come in here and you're emotionally black-eyed, both of them, because you've been punching yourself all day. Seriously, a lot of you guys walk in, I think it causes a lot of health issues. But this is how you need to become your greatest fan. Now, what does that look like? I'm going to show you a picture that's going to, you're never going to get it. Here it is. Now, wait a second. Now, what if, watch. Now, right now, the way that your life ran, you probably had at least 3 times today where you did something and subconsciously, even out loud to yourself, you proved to yourself that you are clumsy or you're stupid or you're, whatever. That tape, you said something to yourself even, right? What if that one was gone And what if all day long you had a little you on your shoulder and all you told yourself was, man, you can do this. You are really good. You're born for this. You are really hitting this thing. It's awesome. You're doing great. What if all day long that's all you heard? Would you have a better day? Some of you guys think that I am literally on drugs, as happy as I am in here all day long, and I'm like effervescently infectious because I'm just in a great mood. Part of that's because I'm drinking when I'm selling. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And metaphorically, that's exactly what it looks like all day long. You will never forget that picture right there, I guarantee you. I made that at lunch. It was the Holy Spirit. He goes, why don't you put you on your head going like this? And I couldn't selfie with two hands, so I just did it with one, like that. So that's what we're trying to create. Got it? Okay? That's what we're trying to create. All right. So success, two main things, okay? So we're going to do this 4-step process for 30 days, but success has really to do with two main things. Number one is that you know the right things to do, okay? But if you're all by yourself in it, a lot of times it dries up because you're just not around enough people doing the same thing. That's why you never want to stop coming to these workshops. You never want to stop coming in at least occasionally to get re-inoculated with maximized living stuff, if you will. But being around the right people, doing the same thing, right? I heard a great quote the other day. It says, if being a Christian was illegal, would there be enough evidence to convict you? Now let that hit you for a second.
Yeah.
I thought that was such a good quote. I'm going to use it for maximized living. If living a maximized living life was completely illegal, would there be enough evidence right now that you could be convicted of living a maximized living life? Are you doing the advanced plan, the core plan? Are you doing surge training of Max T3 of some kind like it? Are you getting adjusted? Are you actually doing stuff at the house, or is it in the closet somewhere getting dust? Are you working Maximind? Are you doing detox? Are you changing things out? Like, could I go to your house and find maximized living? Right? And so you've got to be around the right people. If you're around nobody that does this, is it hard to do that? It makes it harder, doesn't it? But when you come to recipe nights and you come to workshops like this and everybody's drinking the same Kool-Aid, it's like, oh, we can do this, man. This is cool, right? And it works. I can tell you, especially when you see it over and over and over again, you see it results in people's life, just what it is, right? So two things. Know the right things, be around the right people, okay? Ensure success. This is going to be, tonight is going to be the why, okay? And we're going to change some mindset. The 8th of February is going to be the what? The how. Everybody say how. How. Everybody say how. How. Good. Like an Indian. How. February 8th is going to be the how. We're going to have a Maximize Living Makeover 1 to 4 right down the street at Grace Point Church. We were there last time. We're going to have a makeover to end all makeovers because we are going to make a new you in 2014. The Bible says in chapter 12 of Romans, it says, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. The renewing of your diet? The renewing of your exercise program? The renewing of your prescription list? The renewing of your gym membership? No, it says be transformed by the renewing of your mind. This battle starts and ends right here. I forget so much that, you know what, all these essentials work, but you're going to stop getting adjusted eventually. You're going to stop eating this way eventually. You're going to stop living a maximized living life eventually if this never changed. Because you'll live a life out there enough that it'll draw you off this path and off you'll go. And so we've got to change this first. So before this makeover hits, we're going to take now until makeover. We're going to do 30 days of it. But we're going to do now until makeover till we've reprogrammed our brain as if we've set out an entire field of gasoline. And when you hit the 1 o'clock and we start this thing with massive lights and music and everything else and pull the trigger on it, it's like you threw a match on all that gasoline and then bam, the transformation can happen in your life. So every single person in this room, we're going to do an amazing makeover. Now here's the thing. The makeover, all the new things that we're doing, it has a cost to it, right? If you're just started with care and you've never been to a makeover, it's included in the cost of your care. If you've already been some, we try to make it as cheap as we can possibly make it. So it's $5. It's less than going to the movies, okay? It's at $5 is an early bird special. So this is what we're doing tonight. We have products for sale because a lot of you guys don't even buy products until this time of month, right? Because it's 10% off. So for you guys that already asked me tonight about getting your products, it's 10% off. Go get it when we're done. But we're going to have a special section where you're going to be paying for your makeover, and it's $5, okay? So I want you to make sure that you're registered and paid tonight so that you get the early bird special. And this is what else I want you to do. Who do you think needs to start reprogramming their brain?
Everyone.
Yeah, every single person needs to start reprogramming that. Who do you think needs a makeover? I do. I needed this so bad tonight, you guys. I'm speaking to myself, and it tastes like cold water to a thirsty man. The 8th, I want everybody to be there. But what I want you to do tonight, since it's so cheap, if you have it, great. If you don't worry about it. But wouldn't it be nice? Because usually it's $39 or it's $40 for a makeover. Take $25. Go take $25 and put it in Faith. And I want you to get 5 spots for yourself, and I want you to bring other people and fill those spots. Could you do that? Because I can tell you, if you look at families that have children with asthma and people on blood pressure meds and people that are hurting, people that don't have maximized living, what do you think it's going to feel like as far as you and what happens in your heart when you see a change in like that? Just raise your hand if you've sent somebody to the office that have gotten results so far, that just, and how that, like some of you guys are here, some of you guys are, like when you see that happen, it absolutely changed your life. It affected me. Like when I was sitting through that new patient orientation as a patient and I hadn't even started care yet to do what we're doing, first thing in my mind was, my brother has asthma, my aunt just got diagnosed with breast cancer, my uncle has 3 heart conditions. I was already thinking about everybody else. And when I started seeing their changes, it felt even better than the ones that I was experiencing myself. And actually, it drove me forward because I saw that success, and I wanted to be better for those people that I'd sent. So guess who else gets blessed by that? You do. So I want you to take some time. Make sure you're at least getting your spot. But if it's possible, I want you to, in faith, get 5 spots and then just fill them up. Does it make sense? So that's what day? February 8th. Saturday, February 8th. What time? 1 to 4. Where at? Grace Point Church. That's it. Okay. My guests in the house. If you don't know all this craziness that we're talking about the nerve supply. And this is the one and only system that controls every single thing. And it's not a belief system, it's a fact. If you got pressure on a nerve going to a tissue, what happens to it, everybody? It dies. It dies instantly if I cut it, and it dies slowly if it's just a little bit. The problem is nobody really knows what chiropractic is. Everybody thinks chiropractic's for what? Pain, symptom relief. And 95% of chiropractors treat that now. That's not what we do, and everybody that's a family member here knows that. But you're here and showing up because there's 5 essentials to health, and we want to remove any and all interference to how your body works. First and foremost, foundationally, we start with that nerve supply because you can go a month without food, days without water, minutes without air, but if you go without a nerve supply, you're done. And so many people in this room went to how many doctors before you got here? And someone finally found the problem. Finally. And now your life is taken off and there's issues. Some of you guys are still working, but there's the results already there, right? Am I with you? All right, so first and foremost, you got to get this thing checked. And I just love that picture. Can I just stay with that for a while? I love animation on a nerve supply. Do you see that? These above and below it, that's the way it should be. This is what was happening on you, family members, when you came in if you had a cell fixation. And when you were in cadaver lab and you're dissecting cadavers, I was the nerd in cadaver lab that helped with cadaver lab. The tissue that's connected with this, guess what the organ looked like? Looked good, even if they were older, right? What's the tissue look like that's associated with this nerve? Every single time. I don't care if they're in their 20s and they died from a motorcycle accident and donated their body to science. Guess what the tissue looks like? Every time. It looks old. It looks decrepit. It looks dried up. It looks diseased, dysfunctional, because your body does not function right. I had a girl come in. She said, I've got a female cycle dysfunction. She goes, but I'm trying some other things. I've got a nutritional supplement. There's this hormone thing that I'm doing. There's a new patch that's another hormone. I'm doing a detox program. I've got an acupuncturist. And I said, okay, whoa. I said, that is awesome. In fact, maybe not even stop those things. I said, but let me ask you a question. If I choke off the nerve supply to your uterus, no matter what you do, how's your uterus going to function? Is it going to function optimally? It physically is an impossibility anatomically and scientifically for your body to function without a nerve supply, no matter what you do. So it doesn't matter what drug you take, it doesn't matter what physical therapy you did, it doesn't matter what nerve or chi point that the acupuncturist hit. If you don't have a nerve supply, it does not matter. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's just that clear. So my guests here, I have guests, if you've never had your spine checked, it starts with that. You want to resolve, you want to renew you in 2014, start with the foundation of the house. Start with that first. Start getting that taken care of, and guess what? It's literally going to light the fire of the whole change. If you've never had that done, if you're guests, raise your hand in over here. Just raise your hand, Kathy. So I want you to see Kathy when we're done, and she's going to make sure you get scheduled. And we can go through all these things. I wanted to say this before we're done, and we are done here in about 4 minutes. I've had a lot of people asking about the flu. Anybody got questions? Anybody here maybe tipping a little bit because it's worse than you thought and you don't want to get it? A lot of people have had it around you. I've had more people ask me about the flu this year than ever any year before. First of all, in the summertime, I told you this was going to happen because we did something to every single human being in North Texas that decreased the immunity of every single man, woman, and child. Did anybody remember what that was? We sprayed for mosquitoes. And they said it was non-toxic to humans. It was no big deal, except for the owner of the company is a friend of ours. And he was saying, I don't know why they're saying that on the news, because if I take one drop of that from a dropper, glass dropper, put it on the back of anybody's hand, transdermally will go through and it will kill them. They'll be dead in minutes. Wow. That's how poisonous the mosquito spray was. And it landed on every car door handle. It landed on every seat outside. It landed on every blade of grass that your kids played in. It was in every, it went through your ducts of your house. It went into every little water system, in every bird, fish, animal, in everywhere. So do you think that the immunity is down a little bit? Absolutely it's down. And so of course the flu was worse this year, not because the flu strain was worse, because everybody wasn't as healthy. So the solution is not more chemicals, right? Because everybody goes, well, maybe I should get a flu shot. Maybe it's the H1, I should get the H1. Do you know the people, the man that was head of the United States flu vaccine program, retired recently, went on record, and you can look it up yourself, and said there's never been one flu shot ever given that has ever prevented the flu. And now, if you want proof of that, go to the pharmacy and ask for the insert that's in the vial bottle where they draw off the flu shot, and ask for the insert and look at it. Towards the bottom, I think it's 3/4, I've got a copy of it here. And it says on there, never been proven, the flu shot's never been proven to mitigate or decrease prevalence of outbreak of the flu. It says it right there. And yet your doctor says, well, you better get it. You better rush in here, right? And now you can go to Kroger where it says you can get the high dose shot or whatever else, right? Because more is better, right? I guess, right? But do you know if you get 5 flu shots that you're 10 times more likely to have Alzheimer's? If you get 5 flu shots, you're 10 times more likely to have Alzheimer's. That's Hugh Fundenberg, #1 immunologist on planet Earth. And in 1917, 1918, there was a flu epidemic, a real one. Killed 2 million people worldwide. Every 1 out of 10 people that went to medical doctors died. Right? People were dead everywhere. So many people were dying. It was so bad that they actually went to medical doctors, and medical doctors gave people up. They'd send them home and says, there's nothing I can do for you. And they'd send them home to die. That was 1980. Well, a fledgling profession called chiropractic had started, and there wasn't very many of them, but every chiropractor was out there just doing the best they could to love people, take care of people, and work with the living intelligence that have people inside of you and your nerve supply. And they started adjusting people, not because they were treating the flu, but because they wanted to optimize the function of a person's body. And as a result of doing that, do you know that the people that went to see chiropractors, it was 1 in 250,000 that died. Like, they didn't lose hardly anybody. In fact, the people that were sent home to die, there was only 1 in 250 that actually would die. They had to be that sick. They were literally dying. And they actually saved almost every one of those people. And so people ask me, well, what should I do? Should I get the flu shot? There's only one solution for the flu, folks, and it's health. Not more meds, not more shots. It's the 5 essentials. You need to have your mind right, first of all, which will make you make decisions for your benefit, past your limiting beliefs. It'll make sure that you get here for your adjustments. And I would say during this time, if the flu is worse, and I think it may be a little bit worse, get extra adjustments. Every time you get adjustment, it increases your neurology and your immune system 200%. So throw an extra adjustment in there. Do you think it's worth it not to get the flu? Miss days of work. Hey, you just paid for it. Also, diet. Well, guess what? Holidays are over. Get rid of the sugar. Time to get back to it. And some of you guys that actually got sick, it was because you went on a bender, and it was right after that, and bam, you crashed. And you went in with your head, and you're like, oh, what's wrong? Right? And we adjusted, and you got better. But what about exercise? Do you think increasing your oxygen and movement, right? Yeah, doing that surge so your joints feel good, and you feel good about yourself and all those things. That's a whole other thing that's going to just, stainless steel around you away from getting the flu. And then last but not least, making sure everything is doing great because you're detoxifying. Eliminate things from your environment, but also making sure daily detox is part of it, right? So that your glutathione, that antioxidant that's in you, that's like a bank account you have all the time, that bank account's always full by taking that glutathione enhancer and that body detox at night. So that whole thing that you're taking that regularly. It's a good time of year to do it. Vitamin D is another one. Vitamin D, there's nothing literally more scientifically shown with research to decrease the prevalence of the flu than vitamin D. And I have people go, well, I'm already taking a vitamin D supplement. Well, if you're taking anything other than the one that we've researched over and over again, then you're probably not taking one, even though you're swallowing it, because it's not getting absorbed. Nothing. We've done IV therapy. We've done everything trying to get vitamin D levels up. Nothing works like this one because it's got the ratio of probiotics with it and other things that it's absorbable. Got it? So that's a big one. So if you're not doing that, do that. 10% off. Make sure you go get it. Got it? What's the solution for the flu? It starts with the letter H. Health. But we got to change this first. That's what tonight's about. So we're going to do that first. And first step to resolve, make sure you get your exam. Also, some of you guys aren't on Facebook with us. We post all that stuff. Recipes. Who wants all the free recipes all the time, every time you turn around? Every Tuesday, Tasty Tuesday. So get on, sign up for our newsletter right here. It's underneath us. Also right here, making sure that you're on Facebook so that you get those recipes. Some great stuff. What's the one that just came out? The brownie recipe? Oh my goodness, it was so good. I had it for birthday cake. It was awesome. And they ate, I only got like one piece. I'm still upset about that. What's coming up? What's coming up? Here we go. So what's on the 8th? Makeover. What's on the 17th? Patient Appreciation Day. That's where anybody and everybody that's not been checked, we try to have a whole day where we raise money for charity and have a whole day where we see your friends and family so we can check their spines and nervous systems. Also, Max Life Call. Some of you guys enjoy these workshops, but don't get a chance to come to all of them. Well, the Max Life Call is basically a workshop, but it's over the phone. So you can sit on your own couch with your own feet up and be able to have a speakerphone going and have top doctors around the world get on the phone and be able to listen to it. And it's free for you guys that are patients. So if you guys haven't done that, it's also, you register online to do that. Got it? So make sure you do that. Last but not least, there's the 4 things. Did you get them? Did you write them down? Okay. Let me proclaim this over you. This is going to be your best year you've ever had. It is absolutely going to be the best year that you have ever had. It can be one of 2 things. It can be not so good, or it can be the absolute best year you've ever had. I'm proclaiming that there's some people in this room, they're going to have more victories over some things that have stalwarted you, have been hurts for you, that have been hard for you, that you're going to overcome that like you've never had because of what you learned tonight and what you learned on the 28th. And if you need help, what do? You ask for it, and that's what we're here for. So so when we leave right now, I'm going to pray it up. When we leave, you're going to head that way, make sure that we have enough, so make sure you get your product, but then separately, and they're going to wave to you and tell you where to go. Make sure before you leave this room, before you leave this, I should say this house, before you leave, you make sure you're registered for what? Your makeover, you and your 4 or 5 guests. Got it? Okay, so if you would bow your heads and pray it up. So Father God, we just give you praise and thank you for tonight. We thank you for not just information but revelation. And personally, God, for me, David Erb, I just thank you, Father, for giving me what I needed in January. That reminder that it's about the vision, but that vision's only achievable because we hit small, achievable, acceptable goals along the way. And by doing that, we look up and we got so far along the way that we did something that we couldn't have done on our own might, but we did it because we were serving you and serving what you've given us. So God, we just love you, Father, and thank you in advance for what you're going to do in our lives. We thank you, Father, for your Son, Jesus, that made it all happen, that you said that we serve the God of hope. That's what you said in Romans, and that Jesus is that. And so, Father, we just thank you in advance for what's going to happen. We thank you that as we take small steps towards you, that you're going to take great God-sized steps towards us. And because of that, there's going to be just a sea of victories from this room and the people that come because of it. And we pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.